So as this is a surprise to absolutely no one, Facebook has come out with yet another interface change. It's a little bit weird, it's a little bit clunky, I don't like it, but good news is that you can change it and go back to the old settings. So if you want to know what this is and to make sure that it doesn't trip you up, keep on watching. What's up everybody, Alvaro here from Alvaro Barrios Digital, and one thing that we all have to deal with as Meta advertisers is that for whatever reason, Meta loves interface changes. I mean, honestly, every single year there's a minimum of 6 changes. Now, most of these are pretty small in nature. It's like moving the position of a button or having a chart show up differently. Some of them are pretty large, but no matter what, you always just have to be prepared for an interface change. This is super different in contrast to Google, for example. Google's interface is extremely consistent, and I actually really like it. And you know, when it's not broken, you know, there's no need to fix it. But Facebook, for whatever reason, they always like to go back and try to fix things that aren't broken to begin with. So it's just something that you have to live with as advertisers. You know, oftentimes you'll be out there watching a tutorial from 3 months ago, and then you're trying to follow along, but your interface looks the same. Most of the time, it's going to be 95% the same. So just be aware that you're always going to see things that are slightly different, and you just have to anticipate them. So without further ado, let me share my screen and I'll walk you through what to look out for this time. All right, so here we are inside the regular old interface. Let's go ahead and start a campaign. So I'm going to hit create. I'm going to choose the leads objective, but honestly, it doesn't matter what objective you choose here. You're going to see the same thing. So the interface change that I'm talking about here, and by the way, I did talk about this in a previous video. So just as a quick recap, I prefer the manual leads campaign setup, but if you are interested in seeing my full breakdown as to why I prefer that, you can click on the video in the upper left right here. But go with manual leads. And then the change I'm talking about is at the ad set level. Everything at the campaign level and at the ad level, as of the recording of this, is still the same. Who knows? It could literally change tomorrow. But let's go ahead and jump to the ad set level. So at the beginning, everything's the same, right? We've got our name, we've got the specification of where we want the conversion place to take place on the website, instant forms, messenger, etc., etc. Our performance goal, the selection of our pixel. You know, we can choose dynamic creative, budget, all that kind of stuff. Everything's the same. What changes here is down to the targeting. So now for this new change, as you can see here, there are 2 boxes for targeting. There's a box for locations, but not just that, which I'll show you in just a second, and for the audience itself. So again, that's just a little bit weird, you know, because we're used to that being together, but let's break this down a little bit further. So now you have your locations up here. This is pretty much the same. Nothing has changed there. But one thing that is very random, in my opinion, is that if you click on show more options right here, this is where you exclude your custom audiences if you do want to exclude custom audiences, which is strange because the custom audiences used to be together. Like, hey, I want to target this custom audience, which you can still do. I'll show that in a second with the audience suggestion, but then you come back to a separate box to exclude them. I think it makes more sense to have those things together like they were before, just visually and just the flow of the whole thing. But for whatever reason, they've decided to lump this back up here in this audience control section. So another change too is that now there's only a minimum age, right? So before there was a minimum and a maximum. So if you wanted to say, hey, I want to target people between the ages of 25 and 55, well, guess what? With this interface update, you can no longer do that. You can only choose a minimum, and it's still going to go to, you know, 65 plus. I think that is a huge negative because I have seen the algorithm on many occasions really skew to older audiences, you know, because a lot of older audiences, they do like to opt into free things, but that doesn't make them qualified buyers. Oftentimes they're not. And so I think that is a huge negative right there. Next, if we come down to the audience section here where it says Advantage Plus Audience, let's read what it says right here. Our ad technology automatically finds your audience. If you share an audience suggestion, we'll prioritize audiences matching this profile before searching more widely. So what are they saying here? They're actually saying, hey, this is optional. You don't have to actually put any audience targeting right here. We are so confident in our algorithm machine learning abilities that it doesn't matter this section, you can just skip it and go straight to placements or creating your ads and whatnot. So that is interesting that they're making that huge push. Now this is not a new strategy. I actually recently, not too long ago, created a video on what I like to call broad audience no targeting. You can check it out here in the upper left. But it's a good strategy for some businesses in some situations. I do not think it's a good strategy for all businesses in all situations, particularly if you're a smaller business, particularly if your ad account is newer and your pixel may not have a whole lot of data, particularly if you're not spending a whole lot. But now Facebook on their end, they're like, hey, it doesn't matter what situation, you could be running ads for 1 day versus 10 years. This is applicable to everyone, which I would be hesitant to suggest that. So I don't think that is a good idea. Now it does say here that you can give them suggestions, which ultimately means that yes, you can put in targeting like you did before, and then you can refine the age range a little bit more here. So again, there's 2 different age spots, which again is just weird and bizarre in my mind. But no matter what you put in here, it's only going to prioritize it. They're still ultimately going to go out and just do their thing and get in front of people that you're not targeting, right? So again, just putting a lot of faith in their machine learning algorithm and AI and all that kind of stuff. And also, as I mentioned earlier, I do find it bizarre in this setup that you can add your custom audiences here, but then you have to come back up here to this box to exclude certain custom audiences. I just think from a visual perspective and a flow perspective, it's a little bit clunky right there. Now, good news is for now, and I do hope that this stays this way, is that you can click on here to switch back to original audiences. And so if you click that button right here, then it goes back to the traditional interface that we are used to, and I do prefer, right? Because here's your custom audiences. If you want to exclude any, the button's right there, right below it. So again, just from a flow standpoint, I think that makes a lot more sense. You've got your location targeting, your minimum, maximum age range, your detail targeting, your exclusions, right? And if you come in here and you put in, let's just say entrepreneurship in this case, you can narrow the audience further, which, is a feature that I have always liked. If I want to go after people who are entrepreneurs and they're also fans of Star Wars, because I'm doing like a specific Star Wars day on May the 4th promotion, maybe I want to do that, and then I can add exclusions as well. So I just like this setup here because it just makes a lot more intuitive sense to me. It gives me more control, and I don't like it, when companies don't give us the option to have control. If we can switch back to them having all the control and us having control, I think that's fine. But I'm a little bit concerned that we are moving towards a place where at some point in the future, Facebook's going to just take complete control of our targeting. We're gonna have 0 options. Like I said though, thankfully right now we can still switch back. I do recommend that. I will test that other option and let you know what I think in the not so distant future. But for now, definitely just go back to this old interface. All right, and there you have it. So, kind of like I said earlier, I really hope this is not something that is going to be a permanent change moving forward. I hope they always have that option to revert back to the original format, but we'll see. We never know with Meta. They can do some weird and clinking things, but as advertisers, we just have to improvise and adapt with their changes. So that's all I got for you today. If you have any questions, just let me know in the comments below, and I will see you next time.